Praise the Lord, everyone. Brother Roop here. We are in Ohio, the northwest corner of Ohio. There's cornfields behind me, and it's still rather cool. It's about 11 o'clock, as I mentioned in my last video. 67 degrees. It's first week in September. I think it's September 2nd. I think we're 2nd. So, hey, we're somewhere around there. I'm wearing long sleeves because it's 67 degrees, and for somebody from Texas, that's kind of cool. So, anyway, we are in the book of Acts, chapter 17, verse 24. 17, verse 24. I'll read the King James. It says, God that made the world and all things therein, seeing that he is Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. Praise the Lord. So, I did that without my reading glasses on. How about that? That's something else. So, Paul here is on Mars Hill, preaching to Greek philosophers and educated men of Athens and Greece. And he mentioned verse 23. He was rambling around Athens, and he's noticed their temples, and their temple to the unknown God. So in Platoism, unknown God is they had the creator God who was created the universe and backed off, and they didn't know who he was and what his name was. And then he had a realm where the Greek gods were flying around and doing their crazy stuff. You know, Zeus, Apollo, and Greek gods like that. Then he had the realm of humanity where humans lived. Yeah. Raise up the camera there. So that's Platoism in a nutshell there. And so the creator God was called the unknown God. So Paul saw this, and he saw his sermon. So he said, "Thou preach." He saw that. So he's up on Mars Hill. They invited him on Mars Hill, both to hear what new thing he has to say, but to see if he's breaking the law. Because I'm sure they heard he was preaching in the synagogues and the marketplace a new religion. So they wanted to see if he was preaching a new religion. Because if he was, they're going to put him in jail, or maybe even kill him. Because preaching a new religion was against the law in Roman world. It was against the law. Romans didn't like that. Because when people preach a new religion, a new area, it causes unrest. And Romans don't like unrest. They like their empire nice and quiet. So now, Apostle Paul is no dummy. He knows this. So he's being very vague. He's saying, look, you know this unknown God, this creator God that created the universe. You don't know who he is. You have this temple to him, but I know who this creator God is. And verse 24 in the King James, it says, Lord of heaven and earth. Now, in the Aramaic, Paul uses the word deity, and that's, the New Testament was written in Aramaic because Jesus and his disciples were all Aramaic speakers. They spoke Aramaic. Spoke Aramaic, thought in Aramaic, wrote in Aramaic. They were Aramaic speakers. I'm sure Paul up here was talking in Greek. He would have to. He's talking to Greek people, so he would speak Greek. He knew Greek because he grew up in Tarsus, which was was outside of Israel, and it was a Greek area, so they spoke Aramaic and probably Greek, and so I'm sure he spoke Aramaic and Greek, and probably Hebrew too, because he was a priest. So he probably was trilingual. But in Aramaic, he mentions he doesn't say Lord, he mentions deity. King James translated as Lord, but he actually said deity. So Paul's being very vague here. He's being very vague because he doesn't want to come off as preaching a new religion. he's framing it like, no, this is your religion. You just don't know the name of your God, your unknown God. I have his name. So, so he's kind of coming off like, no, I'm part of your religion. I'm not preaching a new religion here. He's not saying that, but he's coming off as that way, trying to. So he just says deity here. He doesn't name Jesus Christ or Yahweh or anything like that. And that's because he's being careful. He doesn't want to get thrown in jail or killed. If he gets killed or thrown in jail, his ministry's over with, and he doesn't want that. Sometimes you have to be smart. You don't want to sneak in the city of Mecca and preach the gospel in the city streets of Mecca, because that's stupid. They'll kill you instantly. They'll kill you right in the streets. What's the point of that? You got to be smart in Christian life. I read a story not too long ago about 2 or 3 young men who went to this island in the Indian Ocean, and they were warned not to go there because the natives will kill you on sight. They don't like strangers. So they went anyway, and because they were stupid, young men who weren't thinking. And, they went there and they got killed. They're filled with arrows, So what was the point of that? You got to be smart. You can't just do rash things. You got to think about what you're doing. So Paul's being very vague here. He mentions the deity who this unknown God is. So he's not trying to come off as preaching a new religion, even though everybody kind of knows what he's doing, because I'm sure they heard what he's been doing in the marketplace and synagogues. So, but Paul's being very coy here, and he's going to preach his message, and some of those philosophers are going to get converted. They're going to follow him, and we're going to see that in later verses here. And so this is a big deal for Paul and Greece, because all these men up here on Mars Hill where he's preaching, they're all the movers and shakers of Athens. They're the philosophers, the bankers, the wealthy people, all the movers and shakers. And that's who Paul wants to preach to, because they can help him start churches. Because, starting churches takes money. So they got it, and Paul wants it. Plus, who else to help him preach the message than wealthy people who are influential? So, anyway, good stuff here. Good stuff. We'll see you in verse 25. Thank you, and God bless you. Be in the cornfields. God bless you.